perfection. That means you need to be ready for receiving that. If you're not ready, then you can't do it. It's like a person going into a gym. You want to bench press 100 kilos, right? And you've gone in and you're 9 stones. And you really haven't done anything. So you start off with 30, you go 100, you break yourself. In the same way you're preparing for the imam. Start benching 30, 40, 50. When you get to 90, then you can say, yeah, you know what? Let me push the full 100. And then you say, Ya Abu Faz, and you push it. But there's a preparation which goes. So we need to prepare ourselves as a society and individually. Look at your own self. Are you selfless? Have I removed all of those negativities within me? And then am I working with society? Because you're judged in 2 ways on the Day of Judgment. As an individual and as a collective society. So now, and it's quite interesting, now the Jews are saying, fine, that's the second concept. But they come forward, they say the third concept is that final figure who brings justice. If you look at all of these religions, that final figure who brings justice is a common denominator. Number one, he's the perfect man, al-insan al-kamil, which the 12th Imam is. The second thing, as they said, the Hindus say, he's a tajalli or manifestation of God. Well, what is the Imam al-Ma'asum? As the narration says, Nahnu asma al-husna. We are the beautiful names of Allah. They are a manifestation of Allah's divinity. That when they walk, they are the hands of Allah and the feet of Allah. They're basically, as Ibn Arabi would say, perfect man. So that's what the 12th Imam is. You give him whatever name you want to give him. You want to give him the name Mahdi, you can do. You want to give him the name Krishna, you can do. You want to give him whatever you want to give the name. The description is the same. Every religion is waiting for that description. So when he comes, you can then understand that when people look at him, the Hindu says, he says, well, you know what? That's the person we've been waiting for. The Jew says, that's the person we've been waiting for. The Christian says, that's the person. And this is why we find that Christians will be the first people, Jews will be. We look at the narrations, we find that Muslims are very last. People of Yemen within Islam will be the first people to come forward. And then after that, slowly things come into motion. So now we're waiting for him. We need to prepare something. That means we need to become selfless. That means we need to work as a collective unit, as a community, like you're doing today. This is why I credit my brother here for doing the occasion that he's done, because it seems that all of these different ethnicities have come together. Gone are the days when we have to go to an Iranian community, speak to them separately. You go to an Iraqi community, speak to the Lebanese community, then a Pakistani community. Today we find all of these ethnicities here. That's the start of it. You're making waves. It's revolutionary. It's not happened before in the Western world. You're doing something different. Pat yourself on the back, go forward with this. Al-Huda Center, 2 years ago I was there. All of those people were there as well. You need to do that. Build bridges, build ties, so that you can go forward. You can develop. And so now let's go forward. Imagine now the Imam is there. He's waiting for you to come. But you know what? Why isn't he coming? If you take all of the narrations that Allama Majlis has brought together, in his ocean of illumination, in his book, you find that chapters 19, 20, 21, 23, they deal with this. And when you look at the narrations, you see that, look, the Imam wants to come back. What stops the Imam from coming back, do you know? Us. If he was to come back and we were to turn our faces away from him, then what would that mean? What is the Imam coming for? Justice, right? That's what he wants to do, establish justice. Let me ask you a question. If we can't establish justice within ourselves, how can we establish justice for the Imam? Now what does it mean by establishing justice? As long as you're sinning, as long as you're doing things which are according to your own nafs, what are you doing? You're going against the concept of justice. So when the Imam takes his sword out, first it's on my neck, because I'm not doing justice to myself and my community, and then it's on the necks of other people. It's that development. But when you look at the Imam, right, he's not out just to kill people. And this is one of the things that the Western media has propagated. That look, this Mahdi is going to come, apocalypse, everything's going to be blown up. It's not the case. The Imam is peace. He's loving. He wants people, he wants friendship with people. He comes forward like the Prophet of God does. If you look at the narrations of Mecca, he says to the people of Mecca, he says, you know what? This is my governor. You guys live in peace. He goes out of Mecca, they kill the governor, he comes back, he says, I'm giving you a second chance. This is another governor, he goes again, they kill again. Third time he comes back in, then he says, all of those enemies of Ahlul Bayt, now I'm going to put an end to you guys, because I've given you 2 chances, no third chance. He kills all of them, establishes another governor. He goes towards Medina again. He goes towards Medina, he comes into Medina, the very same thing takes place. The description of Medina I don't want to go into, because there's 2 people who are mentioned, he's going to... away from that. From there he shifts then. He goes towards Kufa, he goes towards Iraq. Again the narration, this system of the imam is now flowing. He goes there, he makes his capital city, Kufa. At night time he goes to Karbala. He rests there. And then the narrations of Sayyidi Hassani are there and Sufyani are there. But look, basically I don't want to go into that, it's going to be too long if we do. He goes into Kufa. What does he do? The establishment of justice, he's waiting for people to come. And then Sayyidi Hassani comes forward. And the narration it says he's a believer. He believes in the imamate of the imam, but there are people with him that don't. So you know what the 12th imam says? He says, look, let me produce signs. And this is the imam, the beauty of it. That's why Christians and Jews will come after him. You know why? Because when he opens his hand, the ring of Solomon is in his hand. His staff is the staff of Moses that separated the ocean. He puts it on the ground, 12 streams come from the staff. These are the miracles of the prophets he has. He has the shirt of Abraham, that when they chucked Abraham into the fire, he wasn't burnt. Special shirt. He has the cloak of the prophet. He has the turban of the prophet. He has the sword of Amir al-Mu'mineen. When everybody sees this, when you look at gold, you know it's gold.
MashaAllah, MashaAllah.
That's why people convert, right? This is why the Imams, alayhimus salam, they've all said this, where they've said, look, if you want to convert someone, just give him one of our sayings. They're powerful, they shake you. You know, I remember many years ago, I was sitting down in Imam Khomeini Institute in Qom, and I was speaking to Professor Legenhausen. I said to him, look, you know, why did you convert? And he looks at me and says, yeah, funnily enough, it wasn't Tawheed that converted me. He says, one day I was sitting in Texas in the university, and I went forward, and there was a library there, and I pulled out this book, and I looked at it, and it said, Nahj al-Balagha. He goes, I opened it up, I started reading it. I realized that this is either a wali of Allah, or God himself has written this. This is what, look, I converted right away because I saw the realities of Ahlul Bayt. This is so now we're expecting the coming of the Imam. We want to do something for the Imam. We want to spread that message. How do we do it? The Imam's giving you a prototype. Take our sayings and give it to the people. You'll see people running straight away. They'll come to you, believe me. It's a tried and tested method. You do that, you act, embody the teachings of the Imams. That's what you do. That's what differentiates you. When the world is calling you a terrorist, you show the people that, look, I'm not a terrorist. How? With the akhlaq. This is what the Imam is teaching us. And this is why people were attracted to Ahlul Bayt. So many narrations where they were being abused, but look at the way that they acted. People began to cry. Why? Because they see godliness. They see innocence in that. They see purity in that. You know what the biggest thing that we have? Yes, we have the intellect. Yes, we have the heart. But you know what the biggest thing is? Human emotion. If you can change someone's emotion, you can change the status of their being. I'll give you an example. 1400 years ago, maybe there's some of our youth who go out, they go clubbing, maybe, God forbid. But you know what changes them? And I've seen this many a time. 10 days of Muharram come along, Ashura comes, everything changes again. You know why? Because it appeals to your emotion. It changes you it shakes you. It's like in the 1950s, within Iran, his Batuta party were very vocal. Communist party, they were converting so many people to communism. So there's someone else, they said, well look, what's the story here? You're converting them, right? Afghanistan, gone, socialist. Iraq, Baathist. You look at Russia's completely gone, China. This Iran is not going. You're going so far, but you're not converting them. One guy says, he says, you know what the problem is? He says, look, we're making them all communist. But then these 10 days come. 10 days come, by the day Ashura comes along, everybody's saying, Ya Hussein, everything changes, everything is demolished. All of our hard work gone, why? Because of one system that we have. Harness this system. Use this system. Change yourself. Otherwise it's too late. How many generations have we seen come and gone? And this is our time. Don't think to yourself that I can't do anything. One man can make a difference. One man has made a difference. 30 years of history or 40 years will tell you that one man made a difference. You can make that difference. I can make that difference. What makes me different from them? Nothing does. Allah has given you the same ability that He's given other people as well. You can make that difference. You can be hur in this world and the hereafter. All it takes for you is intention. To stand up. To be firm. Not to back down. If a 79-year-old man can bring a revolution, that you at 26, 30, 35, 40, 50 can bring a revolution here. You know what a revolution means? A revolution means changing the people's hearts. When you look at Sayyid al-Shuhada, what did he do? He brought a revolution that changed people's hearts. He didn't kill people by the sword. He made sure that people loved him. Change their hearts. That's why they were crying for him. Even the enemy cried for him, right? We need to do this before it's too late. Before somebody else comes and does it. Allah can choose another nation. Guys, if you could move forward, please.
Allah